Assalamu alaikum class. Today is our second lecture about the different types of the colloidal solutions. Previously we have studied about the what are colloids and how they are different from two solution and coarse suspension. As we know, the colloids are those substances which cannot pass through the semi-permeable membranes. The actual difference in the true solution and colloids are that the dispersed particles have larger size. That's why they cannot pass through the semi-permeable membrane. As we discussed earlier that the colloidal solutions uh, are heterogeneous system in which one phase is dispersed phase and other one is the dispersion medium. Today we discuss about the types of the colloidal solution, how they appear in the form of how they appear in solution. How they appear in solution mean either they want to live in the colloidal state in the solution, either they live in separate colloidal particles, or either they want to combine with other particles to form some macromolecule, means small unit combined to form some macromolecules, or either they want to live in a specific manner to form some different type of some micelles which are called the association colloids. So the colloids may be classified into three general categories depending on the manner in which the large size of the particle arise, how they appear in the solution form, how they exist in solution, how they appear in the solution. So these are the three different types of the colloidal solution. First one is the colloidal dispersion, in which the colloidal particle remain in the colloidal uh, state. They remain separate colloidal particle. The second one is the solution of macromolecules, and the third one is the association colloids. So first we study about the macromolecules. Mean, what are the macromolecules? As you know from its name, macro means large molecules. So the macromolecules are very large molecules having molecular masses that may be several millions of the atomic mass unit. So these are very large molecule. Actually they how they form when small units, small simple molecule combined by either mean by covalent bond or some other bonds, then they form larger molecules. Then these are called the macromolecules. You know about what is the atomic mass unit. Mean, there are different units for measuring the mass of a substance. Mean, mostly we use gram or kilogram for the measuring of the mass unit, and one unit is atomic mass unit. Mean, every substance or every element mass is divided by the one of 1/12 of the carbon mass unit. Mean, the reference was carbon whose mass is 12, and इसके साथ हम किसी भी एलिमेंट की मैस निकालने के लिए उससे उस रेफरेंस से मेजर करते हैं. सो द मैक्रो मॉलिक्यूल्स कौन से होते हैं कि जिनकी मैस जो है हमारे पास वो एटॉमिक मैस यूनिट से सेवरल मिलियंस टाइम जो है वो ज़्यादा होती है. Despite their sizes, however, there is an underlying simplicity in the structure of the biological macromolecules. Biological macromolecules हमारे पास प्रोटीन्स या कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स की एग्जांपल्स हैं हमारे पास, तो हम इनको कहते हैं कि ये हमारे पास सिंप्लिसिटी है इनके स्ट्रक्चर में. क्यों? आप जानते हैं कि अमाइनो एसिड जो होती हैं, डिफरेंट अमाइनो एसिड कंबाइन करके हमारे पास क्या है, वो बना रही होती हैं प्रोटीन्स। या सिमिलरली कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स को देखें हम, तो सिंपल जो स्मॉल यूनिट्स होते हैं, मीन मोनोसेक्राइड्स होते हैं, वो आपस में अगर दो मोनोसेक्राइड कंबाइन हो तो वो ओलिगोसेक्राइड बनाते हैं, और अगर दो से ज़्यादा स्मॉल यूनिट्स आपस में कंबाइन करें हैं तो वो पॉलीसेक्राइड्स बना देते हैं। तो यहाँ पे हमारे पास क्या है कि वो जो सिंपल यूनिट्स हैं वही आपस में कंबाइन हो रहे हैं, वही आपस में बॉन्ड बना के लार्जर यूनिट्स बना रहे हैं, लार्जर मॉलिक्यूल्स बना रहे होते हैं। तो इसलिए ये हमारे पास एक्चुअल में सिंपल मॉलिक्यूल्स, बायोलॉजिकल मॉलिक्यूल्स हो सकते हैं या सिंपल मॉलिक्यूल्स हो सकते हैं जो कि हमारे पास कोवलेंटली बॉन्डेड हो सकते हैं। They are usually linear chains of small similar molecule covalently bonded together. Actual में हमारे पास क्या है, solutions of macromolecules which are true solution of the molecules so large that they fall into the colloidal range. Actually, when very less units are dissolved or very less units are appear, then then they form the true solution. When more and more units may combine, then their particle size is increased, so they are converted into colloidal states. They show their behavior of the colloidal solution. When their concentration is low or their very small units are combined, then they are considered as true solution. But when their concentration is high or the large number of macromolecules are attached to each other, then they fall into the colloidal solutions range. So the solution of the macromolecule, which are true solutions of molecule so large that they fall into the colloidal range and exhibit the many properties of the colloidal solutions. As we know, the properties of the colloidal solution, the ability to dialysis and their slow diffusion. As you know from the previous lecture, the true solutions have the smaller size particles, so they easily diffuse, but the colloidal solutions diffuse very slowly. The main difference is due to their particle size, where the particle size is greater than their diffusion is difficult. Similarly, dialysis is a process in which the different particles can be separated out from the semi-permeable membrane. So on the basis of their particles, these colloidal solutions can be show the phenomena of dialysis and show the slow diffusion. The example of the aqueous solutions of proteins, actually protein formed by the different amino acids and polyvinyl alcohol cellulose and starch or other polymer materials are formed in this way. We mean small simple units combined by covalent bond or any other bond to form the high polymeric materials or large macromolecules. Similarly, the solution of rubber and various other high polymeric materials in organic solvent are called as the macromolecules, because their size is very large and they are converted into the colloidal state. However, in low concentration, these solutions are homogeneous and true solutions. When the concentration is low, mean very less amount is used in the solution formation, then they form the homogeneous mixture, which are the true solution, and they exhibit the properties of the true solution. But when the concentration is very high or large molecules are combined with each other, then they form heterogeneous mixture, and they appear as the macromolecules or are present in the colloidal state. The second category is the association colloids, or simply we call them the micelles. Actually, micelles are formed when a material have two ends. One is hydrophobic and the other one is hydrophilic. Hydro mean water and Phobic, mean hating, and hydrophilic mean water loving. So if a material has two ends, one are the hydrophobic and the other end are hydrophilic, then they appear in such a way, then they combine in such a way, then they form a micelles. One side is the hydrophobic end, and all hydrophilic end are toward the one side, and this type is called the micelles. So when molecule or ion that have a hydrophobic and hydrophilic end are dispersed in water, they associate or aggregate to form the colloidal size particles or micelles. We can define the micelle as the colloidal particles formed in water by the association of molecules or ions that each have a hydrophobic end and a hydrophilic end. In this type of micelles, the hydrophobic and point toward the inward, mean all the hydrophobic and actually a molecule, uh, if a molecule contains large hydrocarbon chain of different fatty acid or simple hydrocarbon chain, then it repel the water, so it is called the hydrophobic, and it pointed toward the inward. And the hydrophilic end actually mean the ionic part of any material, so it attracted toward the water molecule in this way that the hydrophobic end point inward toward each and other and one another, and the hydrophilic end are outside of the micelles facing the water. जो पार्ट वाटर के साथ लविंग होगा वो वाटर की तरफ आ जाएगा, और जो वाटर से हेटिंग है वो वाटर से अवे चला जाएगा. एंड दिस टाइप ऑफ कोलाइडल सॉल्यूशंस और माइसेल्स को हम क्या कहने होते हैं कि ये हमारे पास एसोसिएशन कोलाइड्स हैं. अ कोलाइड इन विच द डिस्पर्स फेज कंसिस्ट ऑफ माइसेल्स इज कॉल्ड द एसोसिएशन colloids. So these are the two types of colloids, and the third one are the colloidal dispersion, in which the particles separately exist in the form of colloidal state. In first one, the substance in first one is the macromolecule, in which the small units combine with each other to form the larger molecules, which are the macromolecules. And in the second one, if the molecules have two ends, one is water hating and other one is water loving, mean hydrophilic and hydrophobic, then they arrange themselves in the form of some micelles, which are called the association colloids. And the third one is the colloidal dispersion, in which the particle remain in the colloidal form. So the colloid can be divided into different types on the basis of the nature of the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium. The nature of dispersed phase and dispersion medium mean either the dispersed phase is a gas, liquid, or a solid. Similarly, a dispersion medium is a gas, liquid, or solid. On these bases, we can classify the colloids into 8 different types. Their example and the nature of these 8 different types of the colloidal solution is this we can study, and now we can study about this. Actually, the gas, if the dispersed phase is a gas and dispersion medium is also a gas, then they form a homogeneous mixture. We cannot separate from one gas from the other, so this is not a colloidal system, because a homogeneous mixture are mostly the true solutions and the colloidal systems or colloidal solutions are heterogeneous system. So the gas disperse in the gas dispersion medium, we cannot consider it in the colloidal system. So the second one is when the dispersed phase is gas which disperse in the liquid, then this common name is the foam, like whipped cream and soap leather. In the form of the whipped cream or soap leather, mostly when we whip the cream, there is a trapping of the gas in the liquid, so this is commonly called as the foam. The third one is the when the gas is dispersed in the solid, which is commonly called the solid fume. Its example of pumice stone mean uh, uh, the stone which has some pores in which the gas is trapped, or other example is the foam rubber in which the gas is trapped in the form in this solid materials. The next example is when the liquid is dispersed in the gas, which is called the aerosol, mean fog, mist and clouds in which the liquid particles are dispersed in the gas air. The next example is the when liquid is dispersed in the liquid medium, which is called emulsion. Its example is oil in water or milk, in which the one liquid is dispersed in the other liquid. The next category is the liquid dispersed in the solid, which is called gel or jellies. Its main example is jellies, butter and cheese, in which the liquid is trapped in the solid material. The next category is when solid is dispersed in the gas, which is called the smoke, and its example are smoke, dust and iodine vapors in the air. You mean when the dust particles or smoke or carbon particles are dispersed in the air. The next category is when the solid material is dispersed in the liquid, which is commonly called as sol. Its example are silver chloride sol, gold sol, arsenic sulfide sol, or sulfur sol, mean sulfur in water, when any solid material is dissolved in liquid. Next category is when solid is dispersed in the solid dispersion medium, which is called the solid sol. Its example are alloys in which different metals in different solid materials are combined physically. Similarly, ruby and glass and mixed crystals and gemstones mean different types of solid materials are combined with each other to form the solid sol. Among these eight colloidal systems, the most important are aerosols, emulsions, gels, and sols. These are very important for us. We will study about these also. So the first one is the sol. As we know that in this sol, the solid is the dispersed phase and the liquid is the dispersion medium. Mostly we use any solid material to add in the liquid. So this type of the colloidal solution are very important for us. So to distinguish the colloidal solution from the ordinary solution, they are called by the general name sol. Sol are the colloidal system in which a solid is dispersed in a liquid. If the dispersion medium is water, then the sols are called hydrosol or aqueous sol. Actually, these sols are named on the basis of their dispersion medium. If the dispersion medium is water, they are called hydrosol or aquasol. If the dispersion medium is alcohol, then these are called alcohol. And if the dispersion medium is benzene, then they are called benzosols. Actually, these sols are classified into two different types. First one is called lyophilic sols, and the second one is called lyophobic. Is related with the solvents, and philic means solvent loving sols, or lyophobic mean solvent hating sols. Similarly, we can say hydrophilic and hydrophobic sols mean water loving and water hating sols. Now we study about the what are these lyophilic and lyophobic sols. As its name from the lyophilic means solvent loving. It's in this type of these sols, the dispersed phase have large affinity, large attraction with the dispersion medium or any solvent which is used. So the lyophilic sols are those colloidal dispersion in which the dispersed phase show a great definite affinity and attraction for the dispersion medium or the solvent and get solvated. Those sols in which the dispersion medium has large affinity, large attraction with the dispersion medium, with these sols are called the lyophilic sols. And similarly, when any ionic substance is added to the water, then it has affinity toward the water, and the water molecules surround its ion, then it is called the solvated by the water or hydration by the water. So if other than water is used as a solvent, then it is called the solvated, mean the solvent molecule uh, surround the dispersed phase, and they have large attraction with the dispersed phase and dispersion medium. When there is a large attraction between the dispersion medium and the dispersed phase, then we cannot easily precipitate them. Precipitation of the sols mean we can destabilize these colloidal solution, mean if the colloidal solution settle down, they cannot be retained in the colloidal state, or they settle down under the effect of gravity, or by other mean by adding some material to settle down them. So these in this way the colloidal solution cannot be remain stable. So if we want to separate them or we want to unstable them, then it is very difficult for us to unstabilize them because there is a large affinity between them, so we cannot easily precipitate these out, these lyophilic sols. When the lyophilic sols are precipitated, they can easily be converted back into the sol by the addition of the dispersed medium, and are therefore termed as the reversible sols. Why we call them reversible sols? Because there is a large affinity between the dispersed phase and dispersion medium, and if we want to separate them, or if we precipitate them by the addition of some material, it can regain we regain them in the form of the colloidal solution. It cannot remain in the settled form. So these are called the reversible sols. इनको सेटल डाउन करना इतना इजी नहीं है बिकॉज कि इनके दरमियान में लार्ज इंटरेक्शंस होती हैं. जिसकी वजह से इनको रिवर्सिबल सोल्स कह रहे हैं. Lyophilic soles are more stable than the lyophobic soles. This reason of this stability is the large interaction, large affinity between them. The examples of the lyophilic soles are dispersion of the starch, gum, and gelatin and protein in water in with the dispersion. Dispersed phase has large affinity with the water. So the lyophobic soles are the opposite of the lyophilic sole, in which there is a less attraction between the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium, and due to this they can be easily precipitated out, they can be easily destabilized. So these are called as the reversible source. The main difference is due to their the affinity of the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium. So the lyophobic sources are those dispersion in which there is no or very little interaction between the dispersed phase and the solvent, which is the dispersion medium. Lyophobic sols can readily be precipitated from the colloidal solution because they have no interaction or very little interaction between them, and they cannot be easily converted back into the colloidal solution by the addition of the dispersed medium. We cannot convert it into the again the colloidal solution because we can easily disturb them, destabilize them, and therefore they are termed as irreversible souls. हम उनको आसानी से वापस रिगेन नहीं कर सकते because कि डिस्पर्स फेज एंड डिस्पर्जन मीडियम की आपस में अफिनिटी ही नहीं है, वो आपस में एक दूसरे के लिए इंट्रैक्शन ही नहीं है, जिसकी वजह से ये डिस्टेबलाइज हो सकते हैं, इजीली डिस्टेबलाइज हो सकते हैं. Lyophobic soles are not very stable. The examples of the lyophobic soles are dispersion of gold, iron hydroxide, and the sulfur in the water. This is the example of the lyophobic sole. When water is used as the dispersion medium, the colloidal systems are called hydrophilic and the hydrophobic instead of lyophilic and lyophobic. Lyo is used for the solvent which is not the water, any other solvent other than water. So now we compare the different properties of the lyophilic and lyophobic soles. The main difference in the lyophilic and lyophobic soles, as you know, is the affinity, the attraction between the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium. In the case of lyophilic sole, there is a large interaction between the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium, and there is less interaction in lyophobic sole, mean particle remain separate uh, in it. So the first property is the visibility in the ultra microscope. In the properties of the simple collides, we have seen that the true solutions are not visible even in electron microscope or high magnification microscope, but the collides can be seen by the electron microscope. So if we differentiate between the lyophobic and lyophilic soles, they can be easily detected in the अल्ट्रा माइक्रोस्कोप. मीन लायोफोबिक सोल्स में के दरमियान में क्या है कि लेस अटेक्शन है, पार्टिकल सेपरेट हैं, तो ये हमें इजीली डिटेक्ट कर सकते हैं. लेकिन जहाँ पे इंट्रैक्शन ज़्यादा हैं वहाँ पे हमें डिटेक्ट करना जो है उनको मुश्किल है. सो लायोफिलिक सोल्स को हम इजीली डिटेक्ट नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन जो लायोफोबिक सोल्स हैं हम उनको इजीली अल्ट्रा माइक्रोस्कोप के अंदर डिटेक्ट कर सकते हैं. In the lyophobic sole, the particles can easily be detected in the ultra microscope, but in the case of lyophilic sole, the particles cannot be readily detected in the ultra microscope. The next is the charge on the particles. The particles in the lyophobic source may carry positive or negative charge. Colloids have different types on the basis of their charge. So we can say these are positive colloids, these are negative colloids. In lyophobic salts, they are they may have positive charge or negative charge. And in the case of lyophilic salts, particle may have little or no charge at all, because if there is a charge on the dispersed particles, they are more attracted toward the solvent molecules, and their charge may be neutralized with the solvent mean dispersion medium, so they have very little or no charge at all. Next is the solvation. Solvation mean when the solvent medium surround the dispersed particles and easily and show the interaction with it, like hydration. When simple example is that when the sodium chloride is dissolved in the water. Sodium chloride is the simple salt, table salt. When we dissolve it in the water, then the sodium, which is the positive ion, is attracted by the oxygen of the water. And similarly, chloride, which have the negative ion, which is attracted toward the hydrogen of the water. So water molecule surround all the chloride and the all the sodium ions in the in this aqueous solution, which is called the hydration. Similarly, if another solvent is used, and then this process is called the solvation. Now there is no interaction between this dispersed phase and the dispersion medium, so no solvation of the particle present in the lyophobic source. In the case of lyophilic source, there is a large interaction between the lyophilic and lyophobic source, so they are solvated. Means solvent molecules or dispersion medium surround the dispersed particle. Next effect is the Tyndall effect. Tyndall effect is actually when the coarse particles, colloidal particles, scatter the light, then this effect is called the Tyndall effect. Actually, there's these particles in the lyophobic source are remain separate, so they easily show the Tyndall effect. They show the Tyndall effect, but in the case of the lyophilic colloids, they cannot be easily detected, they cannot be remain easily separate, so they do not exhibit the Tyndall effect as compared to the lyophobic colloids. Next property is the migration in the electric field. How either they migrate in electric field or not, it is based on their charge. If they have charge, then they migrate toward the opposite charge electrode. So we have seen that the colloidal solutions, lyophobic colloids, have positive or negative charge, so the particles migrate to either toward anode or cathode. But in the case of lyophilic salts, the particles have less charge or no charge at all, so the particle migrate to either anode or cathode or remain stationary. If they have no charge, they remain stationary, and if they have some charge, they move toward any opposite electrode. It may be anode or it may be cathode. Next property is the precipitation by the electrolytes. Mean if we add some electrolyte, if we add some ionic material, or if we add some salt in these collide, either they settle down or either they settle not settle down. So as we studied earlier that the in lyophilic soils there is a high interaction, high attraction with the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium, and they are very stable, they are irreversible, so they cannot be easily precipitated. But in the case of the lyophobic soils, there is no interaction between them. They can be easily precipitated out, and if they are precipitated out, they cannot be converted back into the soil. So these are the irreversible soils. So in the case of the lyophobic salts, they can be easily precipitated by the low concentration of the electrolytes. Mean if we add just small amount of the electrolytes, then we can be easily precipitate these lyophobic salts. But in the case of the lyophilic soil, these are precipitated by the high concentration of the electrolytes. Mean we need more amount of the electrolyte to destabilize these lyophilic soils. Next property is the viscosity of these soils. The viscosity of the lyophobic soils is almost same as the dispersion medium itself. Mean there is no interaction between the lyophobic and the lyophilic soils, so its viscosity is not very changed by it, and its viscosity remain the same as the dispersion medium, either it is water and the other solvent. But in the lyophilic soils there is a high interaction between the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium, so the viscosity is changed from the dispersion medium, so its viscosity is higher than the dispersion medium because there is a dispersed phase in it. And if we see the surface tension of these soils, the surface tension of the lyophobic soils is same as that of the dispersion medium. Again, the reason is that there is no interaction between the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium, so its viscosity, its surface tension remains same as that of the dispersion medium. But in the case of the lyophilic soils, there is a large interaction between this dispersed phase and the dispersion medium, so their property of the viscosity may be changed and the surface tension is changed. So in the case of the lyophilic soils, their surface tension is generally lower than that of the dispersion medium. Mean what which is the surface tension of the dispersion medium? When the dispersed particle attach on their surface, they decrease the surface tension of the that medium, that dispersion medium. So in the case of the lyophilic colloids, their viscosity is higher than the dispersion medium and their surface tension is lower than the dispersion medium. So this is all about today lecture, in which we study about the three main categories of the colloidal system, on the manner in which they exhibit in the solution form, they exist in the solution form. The first one was the macromolecule, and the second one was the association colloid, and the third one is the particle when remain in the colloidal state separately. And then we studied about the different types of the colloidal solution on the basis of the nature of the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium. Either it is gas, liquid, or solid. Similarly, when the dispersion medium is gas, liquid, and solid. Then we start about the types of the colloidal solution. The first one is the sol, in which so actually two main types of the sols. One is the lyophilic sols and other is the lyophobic sol. And then we studied about the different properties of the lyophobic and lyophilic sols. Okay, I love this.